Hello, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton. The small towns and communities of Cleveland County, North Carolina have long been a hotbed of music in all its many forms. Several Cleveland County musicians have found commercial success and critical acclaim in the music industry. Yeah, everybody knows that Earl Scruggs, Don Gibson, Patty Loveless, and Alicia Bridges are from Cleveland County. Donald Byrd, too. So this is not a podcast about them. This is a podcast about the musicians who are still here and keep music alive here. This is the stories, and you need to know them and know the people who are making the music. This is not your normal podcast. You just heard Nikao Wallace with What's the Weather Like? Well, the weather was like a summer thunderstorm when he invited me to his home for our interview. Nevertheless, it was dry inside, so we had ourselves a ball. Listen to his story. Today on Big Sound Small Town, my guest is the ever-in-demand A-list drummer, Nikao Wallace. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here, man.
All right. Now, you're playing with a lot of bands now. You got yourself a pretty much in-demand drummer.
Oh, man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I never thought I'd be playing drums as much as I am now, but I've been working towards it, and like I say, it's just a blessing that people think about me whenever they want a drummer.
So how did they ever find you to do that?
Man, I don't know. I've gotten it's kind of how this podcast started. You know, somebody finds out about me, and I'll get Facebook messages,
right?
Or somebody will call me out the blue. The other day I had, or not the other day, but a couple of months ago, I had somebody that called me, wanted me to play for them, and they were I got recommended to them by somebody who was in a band that we opened up for 10 years ago.
Oh, that's great.
So I mean, and they remembered me from like 10 years ago. So it's crazy how that.
I mean, that's kind of how I came across you. As my band would be playing somewhere, and I would walk by. I think I heard you at the Dragonfly the first time,
cool.
And it was like, whoa, this is not your normal drummer. This is not the, we're playing something totally different here. Of course, you were playing with a totally different style of music than you get to hear a lot too. Yeah. So that's what started me towards you is that you're a different drummer than what I hear all the time.
Awesome.
But how did you get there?
Man, it has to be my dad. My dad, I grew up listening. My dad's a huge Stevie Wonder nut.
That's
I love Stevie Wonder, man.
Yeah.
Stevie, and there's 3 records that he got me on to. Stevie Wonder's Intervisions,
Yeah.
and then he was a huge fan of Chick Corea and Return to Forever.
Oh, yeah.
Light as a Feather.
Yeah, it's great.
And,
great record.
yeah.
That's a great record.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. I can sing every melody on that thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. That's
And
great.
yeah, and out of that, when I found out about Chick Corea's Light as a Feather, that turned me on to then the Romantic Warrior album,
Okay.
and then Stanley Clark's School Days.
Oh,
And being a bass player, I know you know about that.
I know all of those.
Yeah.
If you're going to start somewhere for a musical education, to
Yeah.
just have that running in your head
Yeah.
before you even know really about music,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Great foundation.
Yeah. So I mean, now I kind of jumped the gun. I got those records when I was in high school, but I had been playing. I started playing when I was 10, officially, and got started at the church. My dad was the minister of music, and the preacher's son at the time was playing drums. He didn't really want to play the drums, but his dad
it's
said, "Get up
family
there,
thing. Yeah, I do.
play the drums." So I took interest in it, and he showed me my first little drum beat. And as soon as I was good enough to kind of keep a beat with the song, he boogied on, and and I was the drummer. So so that's why I started playing in church, and I did that for the first few years.
Well, now I'm thinking that taught you to put emphasis and build how to build up a song and take it down and build it up from the church.
Oh man, well, it was complete. It's not the church sound that you might be thinking of. My dad is a singer songwriter, and
Okay.
he played all his original stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then which is more jazz, and I mean the stuff that I just mentioned
Right.
is influenced by that heavily, and so it wasn't the traditional gospel music or
Right.
anything like that. And man, it was pitiful at the beginning. When I first started, I used my floor time as a bass drum because I didn't have the coordination
Oh, yeah, for your feet.
for my feet. So I played the bass drum part on the floor time, then I hit the snare on 2 and 4. So
I'm thinking we're seeing how this style developed right
yeah.
here.
Oh man. So it's funny. So I did that.
Did you do that with sticks or did you?
I did it with sticks. Yeah.
Okay.
So I played the bass drum with my right hand.
It wasn't a mallet.
No. I just had a red plastic tip drumstick. So I did that for a couple of years.
Were these on a church drum set?
Yeah.
Church had a drum set?
The church drum set, and I didn't have a drum set for the first couple of years. I just played at church, and one day my dad, for my 12th birthday, I came home from church one day and there was this big truck in the driveway. I was like, "What's going on?" And a guy from, I think it was there was a music store that's right there. Used to be Pilgrim's Insurance and stuff right there on 74 across from Blanton Cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a music. It's like
Yeah.
Cleveland Music or something
Yeah, it was.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paget,
Roger Paget.
Roger Paget was in that truck and opened it up and pulled out this black Mapex drum set.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh man, I flipped out, man. I played that set for hours once my
I'm
dad
sure.
got it and then set it up, and my mom was a saint. She just listened and grinned and bared it.
Yeah, I think not that your family's not hooked up and going to heaven, but the parents of a drummer,
No.
they're going to get to go to heaven because of all that. They get a free pass.
Yeah,
no matter
man.
what
'Cause
else. Because
I put them through it, boy. That's funny.
yeah, they're going to give you a free one. They get in free. They have to live with the
Yeah,
drummer
man.
learning.
For sure.
The only thing worse than a drummer learning is a violinist.
Oh, just screeching
Oh,
all
just
yeah.
screeching. I can say it because I did it. You know?
And knowing me, I'll probably have a kid that plays the violin just for payback. They say,
Probably.
oh man.
So all right. So you were just drumming in the church at this time.
Yeah.
Were you taking lessons yet or learning?
Not
anything?
yet, but around that time that I got the drum set, maybe 6 months or so later, my dad, Alan Keever, we talked about him before, and Alan worked with my dad, and my dad found out that he played drums, so he told him, he's like, "Hey, come over and show my son a few things whenever you get a chance." And he'd come over to the house once a week and
What kind of basic stuff? I mean, did he just show you basic stuff?
Oh yeah, just
He didn't show
basic.
you like paradiddles and stuff, did he?
Well, I mean, so not paradiddle specifically, but things like taught me how to play my first double stroke roll,
right, yeah.
and just grooves, different grooves,
grooves,
and then and different drum fills that I could play around. You know, just help me, and it was an encouragement more than anything. You know, just being, I was hungry to be around drummers. You know.
Right.
And everybody.
That's how you learn.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Better drummers than yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the feet were working at this point.
Yeah. At this point, I was able to. I could play a kick pattern to keep my hi hat going at the same time. But by then, yeah. But he showed me those grooves, and you know, again, I can't remember specifically, you know, lessons. Other than like, you know, he showed me like those John Bonham triplets and stuff like that. I remember that. Yeah. But more so what I remember from then is just being inspired by being around. Yeah. You know.
Well, I mean, I guess at that point you weren't learning anything about pockets or anything like that. I mean, that's pretty cool. So were you playing with anybody else or just still at the church?
It was just still at the church. And about that time, a guy at the church, his son is actually JT Fitch.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I know JT.
Yeah, JT, his father. I went to church with him, and his father. JT was playing the drums at the time, and his father.
Was a drummer
he
too.
was a drummer, and his father got him a "Burning for Buddy" tape.
Yeah.
Buddy Rich.
Buddy Rich, yeah.
And he made me a copy of that tape because he knew I was a drummer, and that's when I first saw Omar Hakeem.
Okay.
For the first time, he played a song called "Slow Funk" on there, and that's when I decided I wanted to be a drummer because Omar Hakeem is my favorite drummer. And I know you probably heard of him, Sting, Weather Report, all this stuff. Yeah,
a fine drummer.
Man.
Just and a very underrated drummer. I don't think he gets nearly the credit he needs to.
Me either. I think, you know, people are more, you know, they're into the speed and stuff a Dennis Chambers or you know, but he's just, I mean, he's so smooth.
Well, he's smooth and he's just so solid. I mean, he's got that. Yeah, I mean, he does.
And if you watch him, everything's easy. I mean, just the motion. I think that's what got me more than anything was just watching him. And at the time he had these dreads and just everything was just so effortless.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to be like that when I, you know, and that's what made me decide I wanted to be a drummer.
Now, when did you get into, did you take drums in school at any point?
Well, I did. Well, to answer that, I'll back up just a little bit. I had those lessons with Alan for a while, and in between, my dad bought me these DCI videotapes. I still, if you want to see it, maybe afterwards, down in my basement, over the years, I've bought close to $3,000 worth of drum tapes and DVD, and those were my main teachers, you know, and listening to music. So I just, all kinds of instructional tapes and DVDs I bought. So that's what carried me through my teachers. I know you asked about I took drums with Alan for about a year, and then it was all tapes and DVDs until I graduated high school.
Well, I mean, and actually, seemingly no matter what instrument you play, that's how you learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of sitting in your room, listening, picking it up any way you can. You know, I mean, doesn't matter the instrument. You got to stay down there and woodshed and do it.
For sure.
Develop your ear, you know, and that develops your style. You know,
it does.
A lot of different influences, and finally it comes together, I guess.
I mean, that's what you are what you eat, and that's a true statement. But to the marching band, I started playing. I started marching band when I was in 10th grade.
Okay.
Because I didn't go traditionally through because I tried to get in the band when I was in 6th grade. I wanted to play the saxophone,
Oh,
but they were going to put me on clarinet, and that was a lame instrument to me. So I was like, man, if I can't play the saxophone, then I'm just not going to do
Right.
it. So I didn't do the band, and I got heavy in the drums after that, and the end of my 9th grade year, I was like, man, I want to be in the band and play. So I went to the band director at the end of my 9th grade year, and I was like, I want to audition to be in the drum line. I know my rudiments, and I can read a little bit of music, and John Mode. I don't know if you know John Mode was the band director at the time,
Okay.
and he auditioned me, and I played my single strokes and doubles and paradiddles for him, and he's like, hey, yeah, you know your stuff, so I'll let you in the band. So I started from 10th grade till senior year, and that was a huge blessing, because from being a part of that, I learned how to really read music,
Right.
and then it opened up the door to theater, and I played in the pit for
oh yeah.
all the plays
So you
that
would
came
get to play
through.
a full kit for that.
Yeah.
Did you like they do sometimes? Did you at times get to play a full kit with the marching
I
band?
did.
Okay.
We did a weather report
No way.
show,
Really?
and I played drum set for that. And Shelby always, up until a few years ago, had they pitted the drum line.
Oh,
the drum
okay.
line didn't march,
Right.
so we were in some kind of formation in the middle of the field, stationary, and so that allowed us we lacked the visual effect,
Right.
but we gained in the musical component, because we always had the hardest drum music of
Right.
all, because we were sitting there and we were
Right.
really able
That
to.
is really cool. Though.
Yeah,
That is really cool.
yeah. So all that to say that one year we played and had a drum set up there, and I played drum set
I
for.
wondered if it was just straight up marching with the snare.
Yeah, yeah,
That's good though. I mean, that's really good.
yeah. And I got to move around though. I didn't know. I played drum set during the show, and then I moved from drum set to timpani,
Oh yeah.
and then I play snare drum, and
So that would be like on all the plays they did. That's that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so-
really cool actually.
Yeah, so it made me really versatile, and
Now I'm seeing where all this is coming.
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
I'm seeing a picture. I'm getting to
Yeah.
see a bigger picture.
yeah, and talking about being in demand, I'm guessing, one thing led after another, because as a result of being in the marching band and playing the drums, I was introduced to Andy Roby, who was for the longest time the minister of music at First Baptist Church.
Okay.
And the drummer, he lives in LA now, Trip Beam, who plays with Moby, is another Shelby
Right.
Shelby guy that went on to
Yeah, he is.
to do
Yes,
some
he
really
is.
good things. But Trip Beam was the drummer for First Baptist Church. Oh, and I have to tell this story because 9th, 10th grade, I was playing, or I went to First Baptist Church, and they did a musical with the Brooklyn Tabernacle choir music,
Yeah.
and Tripp was playing the drums for that, and I sat there and I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to play that type of stuff
Right.
and do that type of music, and fast forward back to where we were. Andy, who was the minister of music at First Baptist, asked me to play drums for First Baptist when Tripp left to go to college.
Right.
So I replaced him, and a few years later ended up playing that same musical
Oh, that's
again
what you oh,
in
that's
the
great.
same spot that and I was able to look up in the balcony where I sat as I'm now playing the drums for that same. It was really
I mean,
cool.
I guess that
full
was one of the
circle.
early highlights of your life.
It
wasn't
was, man. I almost brought a tear to my eye just how,
Yeah.
I longed to do that for a long time, and then I ended up getting to do it. So it was really
So that's
cool.
how hard work pays off.
Yeah, yeah, but
And a lot of it's networking or knowing people.
yeah, because Andy was the president of the booster club for the band at Shelby High.
Okay.
Because his daughter was on the drum line with me. She played mallets. Her name
Okay.
was Rachel. And yeah, he asked me if I play drums for First Baptist, and I'm still there right now. This is
still
15 years later.
Wow.
And yeah, so I started there, and through that, I've gotten to
Then when did you start playing out?
playing out. Man, I'm trying to think.
I mean, did somebody come and say, you want to put together a band, or did they come and say, we need a drummer? Is that?
No, that's weird. I'm trying to think. And
do you even remember who the first person you went out in?
It was my dad. Everything was kind of kept in,
right,
in there close. If it wasn't at church, it was with my dad.
Right.
And I think because that's a good question, because I'm like, man, it kind of just like so evolved so fluidly that I can't really even remember how it started. But I think I know. I was playing at church, and one of the guys that went to church was friends with a guy named Matt McKinnish, who was the leader of a band called Calming Collective. And he called me up and he said, man, my buddy Mike needs a drummer. The drummer left the band, and I recommended you and gave him your number. So I was like, well, cool. So he called me up about a week later, and I auditioned kind of and got the gig. And yeah, so I played in Calming Collective for about a year, and that was was
that totally different than playing, or was it different from your other gigs? I mean, was that what did I put myself in, a band, which is different than playing at church or with the people that you know well,
Yeah, I mean, it was musically it wasn't.
Right.
Because the type of stuff that they were doing, and I was fortunate enough to, the bass player at the time, John Guariello, is a huge jazz buff, and I was too.
Right.
So we kind of clicked right then and there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we all, we came from the same headspace. So it didn't take anything for us to kind of work together. So that band, I'm a firm believer that, the band goes as the bass and drummer goes.
It does.
You don't...
Listen to that, Kevin Bridges.
I mean, if you could have a phenomenal guitar player, phenomenal singer, phenomenal everything, but if your drums and bass are subpar, the whole band is subpar.
I agree.
And the converse is true too. You can have mediocre, everything else, and if you have a killer drummer and bass player, it carries the whole thing.
It does. I totally agree. I mean, of course, we're drummers and bass
players,
but still, I mean, it is the foundation. If you take it, I like to take stuff back to New Orleans, where that's the whole basis of everything there.
For sure.
I mean, you've got the whole jazz that came out of there.
Yeah.
But break it down, it's the bass and drum.
It is. And I mean, the bass
usually holds the root. I mean,
it
doesn't have to be a upright or an electric bass. It could be a tuba, but it's still the bass.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if it's a horn section, it can be
that low end. And I mean, the low end, it usually outlines the chord. If you don't get the chord right, the chord's not right.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the drums, that's the energy.
It is.
And usually you can play a set of chords and you don't know what style it is until the drummer comes in. The drummer dictates,
they do.
Whether there's the rock song or a jazz song.
True.
Or,
True.
So, I mean, those two things are foundational, so.
That's, and people don't really realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, people come hear a band, and the two people they don't know the bass player, and they don't know the drummer, but they'll know the front man or the guitarist. But they're kind of an afterthought.
Yeah,
you're in that band, man.
I equate it to the offensive line. If in football, if they do their job right, the quarterback gets all the shine.
Looks good.
And you'll never think about them. But if they do, they're probably the most important thing on that field, because if they don't block for that quarterback, he's going to get hurt.
It don't matter how much talent.
Yeah.
And that's my deal. I've been a songwriter, and one of my things is I don't care how good you sing. If you don't have a good song, you got a pretty voice, but you don't have anything.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
A lot of people have pretty voices, but they don't have a good song.
Yeah.
So you wonder why. Yeah, so-and-so can sing, so how come they never had a hit? Because they never had a good song.
Yeah, man.
Same way with the band. You know,
Sure.
you look at famous, successful bands. It don't matter the genre of music, bass player and drums.
Yeah.
Well, you'll even take it to what sample the most of anything.
Oh man,
you know?
Jabbo Starks and oh my God, my brain has left me.
Yeah.
Clyde Stubblefield. There we go.
Stubblefield,
Yeah, with James Brown,
Yeah, exactly.
man. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the most sampled.
Yeah.
Not just drum, but the most sampled. Musical instrument of any type.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, and there's a lot of bass lines that are sampled. However, you can take a sync and do them and not really have to sample them so much.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I know we're veering off, but just thinking about that, my favorite music, popular music, are ones, if you know, like the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and maybe early 80s. They wrote whole songs around the bass line, and those are the funkiest songs. You know.
Well, and those are the. That was Nikao playing drums on Answer, and he had a lot of answers to a lot of questions. Yeah, okay, we're back. We're back with part 2 here. We're not even sure where we stopped it. It doesn't matter though. It's our podcast, so we're going to pick it up and talk about something.
Yeah, man. So I guess we were talking, kind of got sidetracked, but we were talking about the band Common Collective. I started that. That was my first. I think that was my first time playing out with anybody other than my dad or church or school. So, but yeah, I did that, and I say linked up really good with the bass player John Goriello, and you know, musically that was it fell right into place. You know,
what style of music were you playing then?
Man, we were doing a lot of covers from bands like Sublime.
Oh,
and
that had to be different.
Yeah. I mean, that has that kind of like reggae-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, reggae-ish.
But yeah. And we did that, and all the way to like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We kind of mixed it in, and I'm trying to remember some. I mean, we did "Use Me" by Bill Withers. So I mean, we pretty. Yeah, that's an awesome song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
But
drum part in that is big too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the song kicks.
Man.
I mean, that's a prime example of the drum part.
That drum part is killing. Then "Kissing My Love" is another.
Oh, yes, another.
Oh man.
I agree.
But yeah, we do all that kind of stuff, and that was my first time playing, you know, the bar scene. So I guess, you know, and I don't think that was
Did you
really
like that?
It
was exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, it was different, wasn't it?
I was so into playing music I didn't, because I mean the whole scene didn't really. I could take it or leave it,
Right.
you know, and I still, you know, that whole scene is not really. The older I get to, I guess I teeter on the side of leaving it than taking it,
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah,
you know I don't the atmosphere of it is not, you know,
But I mean,
not my cup of tea. But I'm playing music, so
exactly, and
so
that's
yeah.
been the way it is for me. In fact, most places I play, I'm in bed if I'm not playing
Yeah.
before I even
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to pay me to stay awake.
That's it, man. That's it.
You know,
That is it.
'cause I play for free.
Yeah.
Pay me to sit up and tear
And
down.
break that crap. Yeah, break that crap down, boy. That's
The rest of it, we'll play for free.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do they say? Musician's the only person that'll put a couple $1,000 worth of equipment in a $500 car and drive for
$50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so true. But that's kind of the curse of being a musician.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it can be a thankless task
It can be.
for a lot of people. You know, and a lot of man, they want to pay you in exposure.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I had a buddy, man, Mickey Floyd. I don't know if you heard of Floyd brothers, but
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, man. He said, man, this lady called me up and they said, you know, we can't pay you, but you'll get tons of exposure. And he said, man, if I wanted exposure, I'd go out to the court square and drop my drawers down.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to pay the musicians.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're the hired help too.
Yeah.
You play someplace and everybody's eating something
Yeah,
different than you,
yeah.
doing something. Man,
And then when
just-
you're done, they don't want you to stick around.
yeah.
You gotta load in through the
oh, yeah,
kitchen.
yeah, you do. Yeah, that's
I don't know
it.
how many greasy floors
Oh,
I've
yeah,
stepped
me
on.
too.
And I'm slipping and sliding through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Plus, people want you there. You're trying to get out of there, and people want to talk. It's like, no, man, I just want to go home.
Yeah,
The
man.
music's done.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
that's the same thing. People, you can be dead tired. I don't really want to get it, but once you're on stage,
Yeah, it's
you
energy.
hit that first note, man.
Yeah.
It's the world's a different place.
For sure. And getting lost in that.
All right, take us on
Yeah.
this journey.
Oh man, so I did that for a few years, and that kind of transitioned me into my next band, which kind of coincided because the bass player I was telling you about,
Right.
we kind of saw the handwriting on the wall. Common Collective was starting to
Yeah, like all
dwindle.
bands. I mean,
Yeah,
bands have their
Yeah.
They run their course.
yeah. So we started, since we're big jazz nuts, we started a band called Melodious Earth. And which the whole goal of that, we're going to get together and we're going to play all these jazz songs that we loved. And I've always been so blessed and fortunate because I've kept busy playing jazz music around this area, which is not.
That's because
you know,
you're the only jazz drummer around here.
Oh man! Hey, I guess you know.
No, I'm joking. I mean, there's a truth to it, but
Yeah.
but you're also you can do it.
Yeah,
you
me
get the
and I
job
think Mark Cole over
Yeah.
at Gardner Webb, and I think between us, there in this area, I don't know of any other jazz drummers.
There's not a lot of jazz
But,
players here, period,
yeah,
of any
yeah.
style. I mean, any instrument.
Yeah, for
Horn
sure.
players are disappearing.
Man, that's my dream, man. On the bucket list, I want to play in a Tower Power type band.
Me too.
Or something like Earth, Wind and Fire, something with a screaming horn section.
Me too. I love the horn section.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
But those are non-existent.
Oh, for sure, man.
And I mean, can you find, other than guitarists, can you find other jazz players to play with around here?
No, I mean, not here. You got to go. I know some cats in Charlotte,
Yeah, exactly.
but
I mean,
But around-
Derek is it here.
yeah, and that's
Used to around here, they were horn players.
yeah,
Used to, there were some keyboardists.
yeah.
Ray being one.
There was and I played with him for a little bit, a few gigs with Calvin Edwards.
Oh yeah, Calvin.
And
Edwards,
Calvin,
yeah,
but now
does that.
he lives out towards Charlotte.
Yeah,
now
he
he's
does.
not even
He does, yeah.
even here anymore.
Yeah, Calvin's one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about Calvin.
Yeah, and then another guy that I wonder if he's from here, Fitz Fitzgerald.
I know. John
Yeah, is it John? Yeah, John Fitzgerald. Yeah, McGill.
McGill.
Yeah, yeah. So he's in the. I don't know if he's from Shelby or not.
I think he is
but,
from Shelby.
But I think he lives in South Carolina now.
I think he does.
But yeah, he can do. But I mean, there's not many, and especially jazz bass players. Man, that is the hardest thing to find.
And they're all electric players now too. You don't find the upright guys anymore. You know, they pretty well disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, it's a different style too. I mean, the upright jazz players play a different style than the electric ones. I mean, you're looking more weather report Jocko stuff as opposed to Charlie Mingus or something. You know, I mean, you're looking at two totally different animals, really.
Yeah. And that's what was cool. Getting back to that Melodious Earth thing about John Goriello is that he played electric and upright.
Yeah, that's good.
And kind of a whole, John Patitucci or Stanley Clark type vibe.
Yeah.
So so it's really cool playing with a guy like that.
Well, then you got again at some point you go back to playing more we'll call Cleveland County traditional music.
Yeah, and but for a while I was keeping fairly busy playing
just
jazz with the Melodious Earth. We got in with doing oh come on, like swanky little events,
right?
Banquets and stuff like that.
Well, there's a good job. Money's good, and in the places you play are more upscale. Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot during that time, about the same time that I was playing with Calm and Collective, I also got asked to play with a contemporary Christian rock group called Tower of Mercy, because the bass player that was at First Baptist when I first started had a group, and I was playing with them. So that was during that time.
Is that one of those things they call a praise band these days? Or
I mean, we were doing the praise band is doing the same type of music that we were doing.
Yeah.
But we were able, I did a few gigs a month with them.
Yeah.
Playing at different churches and things like that. So at that time, it kind of all fell in place, there toward the end of Common Collective. I was in Common Collective, Tower of Mercy, and Below the Thirst. Yeah. And I don't know how, thank God, even to this day, I've been able to juggle several bands and very few conflicts.
That's good.
And I don't know how that's happened.
You're just a blessed person.
But yeah.
And you got a pretty easygoing demeanor, so I mean, it looks like that stuff just flows for you.
Oh man, I guess. Yeah, that's a blessing and a curse, I guess, because my girlfriend, sometimes she'll be like, man, you don't get mad at anything, or I'm usually just an even killed,
That's a good way to be. I mean, that's an excellent way to be.
Yeah.
So, well, we're to the point. Okay, what you're doing these days? Tell me all about that.
Okay.
Tell me, because you got several things going on now.
Yeah, I guess, and I'll start maybe about 7 years ago. I got a call to be in a band called Southern Experience.
Okay.
And that was an awesome band. And we that's where I really started getting known, I guess, because this band we started doing, toward the last 3 years that I was with that band, we did over 100 shows a year.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
And, and we got to open up for different folks. We played from Los Angeles, Birmingham, or Alabama, Atlanta. We traveled mostly North and South Carolina, but we did some stuff and just met a whole bunch of different people and shared the stage or co-build with a whole bunch of different bands. So just network. So
Yeah.
that when we disbanded back 2 years ago, uh, it was crazy. It was like word traveled. Southern Experience Not Together, and my inbox blew up.
Oh, that's good.
And so I started play. Well, first I took about 2 months off, 2 or 3 months, because I was starting to get burned out.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was playing so much, and I was missing everything. Missing
Yeah,
birthday
oh, yeah.
parties, missing
I do.
all
I
kinds
do.
of stuff. So I was ready for a little bit just to kind of take a break.
Yeah.
I teach students over at Shelby Music
Right.
Center, so that's I just did that for a little bit, and then started picking up. People started calling me, and then once I got filled out, I can't
Oh, I know.
can't not play for too long.
I've tried to quit like
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And, it just never. I've never been able to work it out.
Yeah. I mean, but it was cool. So during that time, I was freelancing, just
Right.
taking gigs, and Derek
Yeah.
was started teaching at the music center,
Right.
and I had heard about him, and I heard him downstairs playing. I was like, "Good Lord, this dude is
Yeah.
this dude is
Yeah,
good."
yeah.
And he had heard about me, and I think one day, I don't know exactly how it got. We kind of talked, and we were both into jazz and
Right.
stuff, so we were talking, and he started playing one day in the music center, just playing the jazz tune. I sat down on a drum set in there and started playing with him. So we were just it kind of locked in.
Well,
It
I
was
mean,
like
and,
cool.
I did him, and he did a really good interview.
Yeah.
And I was asking who he was playing with, and he said to me, he was saying, well, why I'm playing with the people that I'm playing with is because they're the best.
Yeah.
So,
man.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, I mean, it's good when the people you're playing with think you're the best.
Oh man, that's a lot. That's a huge compliment coming from him, because he, I really respect
He's a fine
Derek.
musician. Yes, he
And
is.
playing with him, I've grown more in the year and a half that I played with him than I have in any other situation, because I'm like, man, you don't want to suck with somebody like that,
And that's what he
It's
told
just
me.
like,
He told me that's how he got to where he is when
Yeah.
he was in Atlanta. Everybody he played with was so much better than him that he just did not want to suck.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he kept working
Yeah.
harder so he wouldn't suck.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is something to that.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fuzzy. I don't know. I mean, Derek was wanting to do some. If I remember correctly, he was wanting to do something that he wanted to do.
Right.
He was playing with all these different people.
He's been a high person pretty much,
and
Side
do
man.
the jazz thing.
Right.
And it's like lightning struck again, because that's how Melodious Earth formed.
Right.
And then, now he was wanting to do the jazz thing, and we got a gig, or he got a gig at Newgrass day after Thanksgiving. I think it was 2017. And he's like, man, I got this gig at Newgrass, man. A bass player that can play jazz? So then I recommended my
Right.
buddy John from, and we did that. And it was cool.
Yeah.
People really enjoyed it.
They did. I mean,
And yeah.
y'all made a big impact fast. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, because there again, it's something different that you're not hearing here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you're doing it good. I mean,
Yeah.
that would also probably, if you weren't doing it very well, it probably wouldn't have the impact it's had.
Oh man.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
guys are really on to something. I mean,
Oh man, I appreciate it, because I'm probably having more fun now
that's good.
than I ever. Not saying that I wasn't having fun,
Right.
but I mean, it's just, I'm loving the people I'm playing with. I'm loving the music that I'm playing. So I mean, it's but yeah, I did that, and we started playing for a while. Then I was freelancing
Right.
big time. I played with everybody. I mean, I did, you know, almost hit 100 shows last year with it, and you know, and I started playing with Rick. You know, Rick.
Yeah, yeah. How'd that come
started, yeah.
about?
Well, he wanted when I was playing with Southern Experience. He came in and he helped out
Right.
guitar players a
Right.
little bit, and he heard me playing and knew I had a little studio up at Shelby Music Center, and he was wanting me to record some stuff with him because I love recording drums
Right,
and stuff like that, and
That's the
truth
hardest
be
thing.
told, yeah.
That's the hardest thing
Oh,
to
man.
record and make sound good.
Yeah,
as
so many
anything.
mics. Yeah, so many mics, and you have all those phasing issues and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, to be honest, if I could record all day drums, that's what I really love to do. You know,
yeah.
I love sitting there and nerding out, getting drum sounds and stuff like that. That's probably my favorite single thing in the music to do. But anyway, he wanted to know if I could, record some drums. So he came and we recorded, and it worked out, man. I started hanging out with Rick, and he's a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
He's a big part of Cleveland County music history. I mean,
yeah, and he did a lot of recording in Atlanta. He used to go back and forth recording in Atlanta, so I learned a bunch from him about recording. I mean, we just started hanging out for a while, and I'd go over his house every week, and he'd show me some stuff about music theory and recording and stuff. And he's like, man, we should start doing a CD. So we started working on CD. Original songs he recorded, and it's about to come out here not too long. But anyway, and we were working songs together. It's like, man, this would be cool. We can do a band and record this stuff, and kind of fell into place.
right.
That same time I was talking with Alik,
Yeah.
and I hooked him up with Rick because he was wanting to get better on guitar.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Rick
Rick's-
taught,
Yeah.
and he was like, man, Alik's a great singer, guitar. I can play guitar.
Right.
You can play drums. All we need is a bass player.
Yeah.
And Alik knew a bass player. His name is Tim Rakes, and great bass player. And I mean, it just kind of fell into place.
What's the name of this band?
It's called Turbulent Society. Yeah. And
You gotta plug them.
yeah, for sure. And so started doing that, and playing gigs with that. So then that's Derek McCoy Trio, Turbulent Society, and then I got a call randomly out of the blue from a guy. Said, John Reed gave me your number. For those of you who don't know, John Reed is the owner of Shelby Music Center.
Yes, he is.
And they said, that you play drums, and I wanted to see if you wanted to play drums with us. And I never say no to anything.
Right.
Just because.
I know. Yeah, I do.
I don't.
You don't
and
know
so,
if you don't
sometimes,
get that.
and a lot of good things have happened as a result of doing that. And then a lot of crappy things. You
It's
just
music business.
But I never say no until unless if it turns out bad, then I'll say no after
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
but it turned out it was really a cool thing. It's we've formed a band called Not Just Blues, and it's a blues band, and see ya.
nice
All
meeting
right,
you.
but we formed a blues band, and it's funny. I started playing with them about a year ago, but it took about 9 months or so before we got our first gig. Mainly due to my schedule.
Oh yeah.
Because
you're busy working with everybody.
yeah, because
else,
they're like, can you play this gig? Can you play? It's like, oh, sorry guys, I'm already booked on that day. So I mean, it took about a good 9 months before we could even schedule something.
Right.
But and we just started playing. Now starting back, I think our first gig was back in March, and so yeah, those are the.
I don't see how you get it all done.
Oh man,
It's a good thing though.
It is.
It's better to have too much work than not enough.
Oh, for sure.
You
For
know?
sure. For sure.
Good. All right. Well, I do appreciate you taking the time to do
Yeah.
this, and I hope to get back and do this again with you sometime.
Oh man, for sure, man.
You've been
I
a great
appreciate
guest.
you thinking of
Thank
me,
you.
man. Awesome.
We're finishing our show up today with the Derek McCoy Trio featuring a drum solo by Nikao Wallace.